What's up, guys?
What's up?
We are here. Yes, sir. Hey, we're about 24 hours away from almost dang near game time. 26 hours, give or take, right? It's about right. Yeah.
26 and 15 minutes. Not that I'm counting or anything.
Oh, we're not counting at all. We're not counting at all. But great to have you guys on here. Obviously, I'm James from Bolt Bros. I got my brother Andrew here, and then we got our special guest. Hey, round 2, by the way. UCF Jaguar here, man. We are back after week 3. We are back talking, man. And man, what a season it's been for you guys over there in Jacksonville. I mean, opportunistic is the way I'll say it. You guys took advantage of the situation and got to this point to be able to win the division. It's insane to see what you guys did. So congrats that you guys are here.
Yeah, man. I mean, first of all, great to be back on here. Last time I was on here it was a blast, I must say. Mostly because of the results of the game. But yeah, it was a weird year because, you know, really in my lifetime, we pretty much made the playoffs like twice. It was 2017, which was like 5 years ago. But in that season, you know, you have a winning record kind of all throughout the season. You know, this year, halfway through the year, we're like 2-6, 3-7.
Yeah.
And I know how that is, man. And like, you know, I sit there, I'm like, okay, you know, what am I going to look for? Oh, let's look for some good steps from Trevor Lawrence. Let's hope to win some games at the end. You know, I did not expect what happened at the end, finishing the year 7-2, and just the complete collapse that the Titans had. You know, finishing out the season with like 5 or 6 straight losses. It was awesome, and now here we are. We're hosting a playoff game. It's like 2 months ago today, I would have never thought, and now look at where we are, and it feels like we're playing with some house money right now.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Even I read something about the city of Jacksonville kind of had to throw another $700K at this game for security because they were like, "Whoa, wait a minute here. We got a home game here. We got to pump up the security here for playoffs." So it's amazing to see what you guys did, and it's amazing to be able to see the trajectory of where Trevor Lawrence has been in the last few weeks too. I mean, he has been balling out, which actually I wouldn't mind just showing you guys too. Kind of just some of the stats in comparison of Justin Herbert to Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty insane to see what he's done, Trevor Lawrence, and then obviously in comparison to Justin Herbert. In the last couple of weeks, he has balled out. So it's been amazing to be able to see that trajectory for you. And, you know, I guess I kind of want to just open it up as a discussion. Tell me a little bit about what you've been seeing from this offense and what really changed all of a sudden.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing that happened was at the beginning of the year, just Trevor Lawrence just was never in like much of a groove. It was like you'd see his impressive games, but then it would kind of be followed up by just some down moments. And, you know, really, he threw a really bad interception in London against the Broncos at the goal line, an interception that he had made before. And he attributes that to really his turning point. You know, he said that, look, I need to start playing with more confidence. I am like causing our team to lose games. So from there, I guess it really flipped the switch. And, you know, he became a lot more comfortable in the offense. He started just making really good throws, really accurate throws. And, you know, you're just seeing as the year goes on, just Trevor play a lot better. The defense has been playing a lot better too. I mean, we started off the year really good. And then we went through a really big lull where like no turnovers, no like sacks, like teams were driving all over us. And it was gut wrenching. And then now the defense is playing better. I mean, we have like, you know, 3 defensive touchdowns the last like 4 weeks. You know, they're causing the sacks, they're getting the turnovers. And overall, I think that they're just buying into what Doug Peterson is preaching. You know, he said after a tough loss against Kansas City, you know, at the time we were like, you know, 2-6 or 3-7, I believe we were at that time.
Yep.
He said, I have a crystal ball. You know, that the week 18 game against the Titans, that's going to be for the division. And that happened. So, I mean, you know, the Jaguars come back from having the worst coach in NFL history with Urban Meyer, you know, turn it around this quickly with a little bit of assistance from the Titans completely melting down. And, you know, we're 9-8. We have a winning record. You know, we've earned this spot. We've earned this playoff game. And then now, you know, we have a team that is currently on a 5-game winning streak. You know, we're a dangerous team right now, playing with a lot of confidence. A lot of guys buying into each other. So it's really cool to see.
Very cool, man. It's great to see. Andrew, you had any comments on that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's exciting to see two young quarterbacks go head to head like this. They both got long hair. They both got similar stats, right? No, but it's exciting, right? And Trevor Lawrence, I think, is a really good guy, good quarterback, and I really think really they just simplified the offense for him, and then he became very. They made it simple for him to succeed, right? They schemed him open. Again, it's been my biggest frustrations with our offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi. I still think he keeps things a little too complicated and a little too simple and remedial. I think Trevor Lawrence, I think they just made these passes. He doesn't throw deep very often. I know week 3 it was very short passes for the most part. But for the most part, they just made it simple and easy for him to succeed and then get a lot of yards after catch. And so I think the key to success for the Chargers in this game is that we got to jam them at the line pretty hard, right? We cannot let them continue to run free and, find spots in the zone, right? We've got to play aggressive the entire game. And if we don't, which we didn't last time, I mean, you see the film on our last game, we played god awful, right? And we were also a banged up team pretty bad at that time. So it will be interesting to see how we adjust compared to what we did in week 3. So I'm excited. Both QBs are doing great, and it'll be a fun one, man. I mean, it's going to come down to the wire. Either way, it's going to be a close game. I think it will be, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think have been some of the guys that have stepped up for you guys in the offense too there, UCF Jaguar?
Well, I mean, since we last played, you see that James Robinson had 100 yards rushing. Well, James Robinson is no longer on the team.
Gone.
So Travis Etienne had to step in and kind of fill that role. And, he quietly had like about 1,100 rushing yards, several touchdowns. I mean, he's a real like home run threat. So Travis Etienne, especially after getting hurt last year, this is pretty much his rookie season. He's been very good for us. He does have a little bit of fumbling issues and, kind of questionable hands when it comes to just catching the ball too. But, overall, when he's not dropping the ball, he's really dangerous. And, Evan Ingram's having a career year coming out there and just playing really well offensively, being a tight end that we've really never had. Our left tackle got hurt. Cam Robinson, Walker Little, who was a second-round pick last year, has stepped in pretty good. All of our wide receivers have been everyone's having career years. Christian Kirk, everyone laughed at that contract that he got, but
that's a huge contract. Yeah,
we're not the same team without him. I truly don't believe that we are in this position without Christian Kirk. And if Christian Kirk is if we only win one more game because of Christian Kirk, then we're not in the playoffs. So, that was pretty much money well spent. So is Zay Jones. He's having another career year. And just, I think mainly just defensively. I mean, we have a lot of people don't know this, but, the Jaguars have some really, really good cornerback play. Tyson Campbell has been playing like a top 5 to top 10 cornerback in the NFL. And, they moved this guy from the Rams, Darius Williams, outside, and he's been really good. So I wonder if, our weakness on the offense or on the defense is Trey Herndon, our nickel corner. And with Mike Williams out, I really wonder if we start to kind of shift guys toward, Keenan Allen, because Keenan Allen can really exploit Trey Herndon on the defensive end. And that's the main thing that I worry about. Like if I were to have the choice of having Mike Williams or Keenan Allen out, I would probably pick Keenan Allen because I think that we're really good against outside receivers. We're just really weak against wide receivers and tight end, or against like slot receivers and tight ends. But overall, just the defense being able to come in there and make turnovers. I mean, y'all's boy Rayshon Jenkins has been a stud, man. I mean, he got the pick 6 against the Cowboys. He forced the fumble against the Titans, which dropped into Josh Allen's hands and got the touchdown. I mean, we won 2 games just based off of his big plays. So, just a lot of guys just playing really good football at really good moments. And, most specifically Trevor Lawrence, we just hope that, he can continue his good play because he's been a little bit down the last couple of games.
Right.
Yep. And I think it'll be interesting to see what we do with Williams out. I mean, again, there's obviously, I think there's a few people at the very beginning here. And James, you'll have to highlight some of these questions if you want to get to them. Having Williams out is a big loss, but again, I think Palmer will pretty much take that exact same position over. Again, he's not Mike Williams in any way, shape, or form, but he's a good poor man's version of, right? And so I think having Parham back, Parham wasn't at the game last time versus Jacksonville. So it'd be interesting to see. In fact, I even read an article that stated that Parham was actually running a lot of Mike Williams' routes. So he's our tight end, but he's actually been running Mike Williams' routes as well too. So it'd be interesting to see if he lines up like that a little bit more. I'm also interested to see if we would start running some Wildcat because I think it was Chargers Weekly highlighted the fact that was a good little wrinkle in the running game to potentially see some yards that we could potentially get. So again, I've been extremely critical of Joe Lombardi. I'm still not a fan of his offense in any way, shape, or form, but I'd like to see some of these wrinkles to get you guys a little bit off of your comfort zone, if you will, right? Find some things that we could exploit you folks on. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, I'm excited to see what we got dialed up, and we're gonna have Bosa back. He doesn't look great yet, but we'll see what happens, right? So
yeah,
I mean, we were a banged up team week 3, guys. I mean, let's face it. Like Rashawn Slater was out, Bosa was out. Herbert had fractured rib cartilage. I mean, Williams, I think, was out. I think Allen was out too, wasn't he? Or didn't he go down like the beginning of that game? I can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was either the beginning of the game or he was out.
It's funny because we've had this thing of who was out in what game, Allen or Williams.
Yeah,
we don't know. Like
I don't think Allen played that game.
I don't think Allen played that game.
He was. I think he went down at the Chiefs game. And then, because I think up to that point, they came back. They only had 13 snaps together total as teammates. I think that's right. That's right. So, man. So, anyways, it'll be exciting to see. I think this will be a very close game specifically. And Bolt Babes love you for sure. So, yeah, why don't we highlight Aether's question? This one's directed to UFC Jag. Yep. How are the Jags going to defend a healthy Herbert?
That's the thing is, you got to go out there and get pressure on him, man. I mean, kind of like it's hard because Herbert can make every throw. He can, he's a great quarterback, elite quarterback, and that's what's so fun about this matchup is like, it's both Herbert and Trevor Lawrence's first playoff game, and who knows, like 15, 20 years from now, like what these guys' playoff record's going to be, how many Super Bowls each guy collects. I mean, this could be the start of something like really fun and maybe even a rivalry between the Chargers. Hopefully the Jaguars keep winning the division. It's just right now, y'all's path to the division is a lot harder than the Jaguars. Yeah. So maybe we don't get those first place matchups in the next couple of years. But with Herbert, get pressure on him. Confuse him on the defensive side of the ball, throw in some stuff that he hasn't seen. The Titans last week against Trevor Lawrence, Trevor went out there and he didn't have a great game. He just said they put stuff out there that the Titans haven't done all year. Yeah, so there's ways to confuse quarterbacks and throw them off. And, maybe it requires a little bit of luck too. Maybe a Josh Palmer dropping an easy third down catch. It's just, the ball bouncing your way. It's going to be tough. And honestly, we might not even be able to defend Herbert. We just have to outscore Herbert is what we might have to do.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a crazy stat with Justin Herbert is that he's 18-5 if our defense gives up 27 points. So that's a pretty wild stat to think about. So the key is that you have to get over 27 points to be able to get a dub on us pretty much, which is wild to think about. But the one thing too, and I was just going to say, shout out to the Jags. You guys are in a division that have a great chance that you guys have a great opening to really take over the AFC South now at this point. And that's a big thing for you guys. Crazy thing about the AFC. I was, once again, before we were jumping on the stream, I was talking to UCF Jaguar just about it, that I've been sitting there just watching all these experts talking about this. And they're like, man, the AFC has all of the dang near almost all the talent of all the quarterbacks in the league. And it's such a difficult situation to be a part of right now, where you got basically Burrow, Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence. It is tough for everybody. And
just keep them out of the AFC South, okay? I can live with the AFC South literally only having one quarterback.
I know
that can change.
Yeah, you're lucky in that regard for sure. Well, and one thing I will also say too, I think personally this game's going to boil down to defense, right? The one thing that I will say, and the stat that we talked about, the Chargers lead the league in pass breakups. So, so we're pretty aggressive. I know we talked about jamming people at the line, so I think it'll be really interesting. So I think either way, Herbert and Lawrence are going to score points. They're going to score. They're going to score. But when you start talking, just like you said, it's going to come down to just a couple plays, a couple of third down stops, maybe a fourth down stop here and there. That's what it's going to come down to. And I think whatever team has the best defense or good enough defense is going to win this game. Is my opinion. And I will say this: our defensive line has started playing a lot better as well too. Agreed. So okay, here we go. Let's see Aether's question here.
If the Chargers defense stop the run, if the Chargers defense stops the run, are the Jags willing to throw the ball 40 times and get in a shootout with us? Which we kind of chatted with already, but love to be able to hear your opinion.
If there's anybody who likes to pass the ball, it's Doug Peterson. I mean,
100%.
I mean, he's willing to throw the ball, and and a lot of times we win because we throw the ball. And sometimes like our run games just gets shut down. I mean, last week against the Titans, the running backs had 10 rushes for 22 yards. So, it can be difficult, but the Jaguars need to get the run game going because the statistics show that the Chargers aren't very good at stopping the run. And when they don't stop the run, they just don't win games. So that is like, a clear path to being able to beat the Chargers. And we saw it earlier this year with the Jaguars getting over 150 yards on the ground. So, but yeah, we're absolutely willing to throw. We've had to abandon the run game many times in the past. So it's just another one of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you think about your guys' defense too? I know it's a very young defense. We chatted a lot about your defense. Josh Allen's an absolute stud. I love a lot of your guys' linebackers that you ended up picking up within the draft and such too. But, kind of tell me a little bit about your guys' strengths. I know you talked about Rayshon Jenkins, which is a blast from the past from the Chargers, who I was kind of bummed that we let go, to be honest.
Yeah, he was awesome.
But he was a solid player for us. But he seems to be a big leader, which you've already chatted about, that he's really stepped up. Your cornerbacks are looking good and everything too. But where's kind of the X factor guy on that team that gets that engine running on that defense?
Yeah, I mean, really, oh man, there's a few different spark plugs in there, but I think it all starts from the pass rush. If Josh Allen's been playing at a really good level right now, and he kind of tailed off in the middle of the year. And I think I kind of think that he had an injury that they weren't disclosing because he just wasn't the same guy. And we're like, what is this version of like Josh Allen? Like he's not doing anything. But now he's heating up. He's the one that got the touchdown last week. But really the defense is a confusing one because there's a lot of money and draft capital invested in this defense. And I really don't even think it's all that good right now. But what the Jaguars defense does good is that they get big plays. Like they can get critical sacks when they need it. They get the turnovers. Like I said, they've been getting a lot of touchdowns lately. And really they play their best ball in the second half. So we're an opportunistic defense. We get, and a lot of them, I mean, there's no bad apples. Like back in 2017 when we had like a top defense in the NFL, we had a bunch of knuckleheads, man. Jalen Ramsey was all about himself. Unique Ngakoue was, kind of the same way. We just had a bunch of me guys. And it seems like this defense right now, it's a bunch of players that are kind of playing for each other. So that's really what the defense, and it scares me because, the defense, our past defense is not great. So and like I said, I really don't think we're going to be able to stop Herbert. I just think we need to outscore Herbert flat out. Yeah. I think we need to get 28 to 35 points to win this.
Could be a shootout. Yeah.
Go ahead, James. And the one thing I was going to point out to the defense too is that you guys have a very good stout run defense. Just the pass offense seems to be the issue for you guys. Now, once again, it's very difficult to be a defense where you're really, really top 5 in run defense and really good in top 5 in pass. It's just very difficult to be able to do that. But as in the Chargers, basically, we kind of look at it and say, okay, yeah, I mean, Herbert has the opportunity to throw the ball all over the place, basically, at this point. We don't really play much of a run game. We play kind of a different way of playing a run game. It's a lot more screen, kind of passes to the flat to Eckler, which he got 107 catches this year. I mean, he's an absolute stud for us and been an absolute rock for us all season. So it's an interesting thing to see. And then I know we're dead even on the turnovers ratio. We're +3, basically, both of us. If you start looking at the defensive side of things and the rankings and then the amount of points you score and the amount of points you give up, it's like such a tight amount of like difference between us. If any, it's like such an even match all around. So that's why everybody keeps hyping up this game very heavily. So
yeah,
it's going to be a very good game. I would be shocked if it becomes something that happens in the week 3 situation where we just get blown out by you guys again. I would be stunned at this point.
And I was at that game, by the way. I wanted to jump off SoFi Stadium myself. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I will say this again. I do think you got to remember also we have Bosa and Mack on the field at the same time. Yep. Our run stopping has been a lot better as of late. And I say the word better because we're still giving up explosive plays. It's one of the things that has been frustrating to me is that we have given up a lot. Now, one of the things I will say also too, guys, Brandon Staley also runs very light boxes. What I mean by that is he only has 4 to 5 guys in the box, period. His whole defensive scheme is focusing on stopping the pass as much as possible. That's actually why we lead the league in pass breakups. He doesn't care about the run as much. So if ETN has a big game, that's going to be a problem, right? That's going to be a problem. And so, again, they're not focused on stopping the run as much. And so I think that'll be very interesting to see. Now, I will say this too. Bosa and Mack are very good at setting the edge. So I think they will not be able to run the same way they did last time, specifically against us. And Bosa is looking better. He is still coming back from his groin surgery. I mean, that sucks. But again, it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. So I think it's really going to boil down to the trenches and going for that. And actually, the Bolt Babes had a good question for
Jags are doing to prepare for tomorrow. Well, first off, hopefully sleep and get a good night's rest. That's for sure.
Do the little
carb up. Carb up. Carb up.
Williams is back. Hopefully he can get fixed up for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, man. That's wild to hear that news. But yeah, I mean, I haven't played on a football team to be able to kind of know what it's like going into a playoff game. But at the same side, I'm sure it's just probably making sure you get a good solid night's rest, study up as much as you possibly can, understand kind of what you're doing, game plan first 20 plays, 25 scripted plays or whatever it might be in the game. And yeah, get your mind right. This is win or go home, guys.
It's got check time. Oh, we lost.
We're losing all you guys, man.
That was weird. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there, but that happens sometimes. It's really weird, and I didn't even touch a thing. But
y'all got that really Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think we got the Jaguars hacking into our stream right now. Like, cut it off. Cut it off.
Cut it. We're done. Yeah. So, what do you think? What do you think the Jags are doing to prepare?
Golly, I mean, I feel like looking at it, man. Like the Jaguars are at a huge advantage when it comes to location and time. I mean, the Jaguars just played Saturday night at 8:15 in the exact same location.
Insane,
right? You know what I mean? And you look at the Chargers and, they just played Sunday. They had to fly, from California out to Jacksonville, which I've been on that flight before. That's about 5.5 hours, I think, going east. Going west is a little bit quicker because you're going against the sun, you're going against the rotation. But I mean, it's going to be tough. But I mean, but the Jaguars are also preparing for a completely different team than they are last. I mean, last week you played against the Titans, which is just an awful opponent to play against because it's just ugly. It's low scoring. It's like frustrating. Like, I mean, you guys played against the Chargers a few weeks. I was watching that game, passionately rooting for you guys. And, it's one of those frustrating games where it's just, playing against the Titans just isn't fun. And I hope this and last week, man, the first 57 minutes of that game was agonizing because the Jaguars never held a lead. It was just not a lot getting going. And that's why I'm hoping this game. I just hope it's scoring touchdowns and there's lead changes and, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you just got to you prepare for every team different because every team does, different stuff. You're preparing to go against a team that plays too high safety. So it's a little bit hard to pass against. So you're just trying to scheme to run a little bit more. And defensively, you're scheming against Justin Herbert with all his weapons. So it's like James said, I mean, we're not players, we're not coaches. I really don't know what the hell they do, but that's my advice.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, they're clearly looking at film, right? They want to make sure everyone has an understanding of, hey, they're going to run this play a lot, right? Now, Aether brought up a good question as well, too, and it kind of leads into Bolt Babe's question here is, I have another question, how confident knowing Chargers secondary has been balling out, right? And I really do think our secondary has been playing better. I watched some old film from the Jags game. Our two safeties, Nas and Lowe, were playing so bad because they played way deep and they would try and rush up and try to, help the running game. and they just created bad angles for themselves every single time. So I think they're going to do a much better job of stopping the run, or at least being involved in the run stop a little bit. And again, I think bottom line, they're obviously being better at ball hawks at this moment as well too. So,
absolutely.
So our secondary has been playing much better, and I think that's a big part of it. So to me, that's a big part of us preparing and moving forward. Again, the other thing too, though, again, what I noticed with the Jags this last game against us, a lot of dink and dunk. I did a video afterwards, and it was death by, I called it a death by 1,000 cuts, because I think it was a single drive. It was like 20 some plays. It was just these short little passes. You just chewed up clock all the way down the field. So again, there was no aggression. There was no pressure. There was no jamming in at the line. There was nothing to get them off of their marks or even to rattle Lawrence in any way, shape, or form. So I think that's going to completely change this game. They're going to be aggressive.
Absolutely.
They're going to blitz as much as they can. And let's see what a healthy Bosa can do. Bosa and Matt can do, because they're finally on the field. Plus, Kyle Van Noy's playing well too. So it'd be interesting to see on these passing situations if he lines up as a defensive lineman as more of a pass rusher, known passing type of plays.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was kind of interesting, and this is a point that Brandon Mitchell brought up, is about basically the last game in week 3. Y'all know that last game against the Jags, we gave Eckler 4 carries, 5 yards. We were doing running back by committee with Sony Michel, who is not on the team anymore.
Yeah.
I think this offense will be better. And that's absolutely the truth. I mean, the thing about it is both of these teams have adjusted and changed. I mean, Doug Peterson chatted a lot about it too. One thing that I wanted to say too is that our quarterbacks have shifted and changed in that sense too. I mean, week 3, that was the game after we had, Justin Herbert with the broken rib cartilage was playing like a totally different guy. Trevor Lawrence is playing like a totally different quarterback, basically half of the season. I saw your stream there too. UCF Jaguar chatting about kind of the game and some of the notes. And you're like, the thing about Justin Herbert is that he's been playing at a high level for the last 3 years. Trevor Lawrence has only been playing at a high level for basically half of the season per se. So it's kind of a new version of Trevor Lawrence so far. And, I just kind of want to kind of hear your thoughts a little bit about it. And I thought that was kind of an interesting comment that you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucks with Trevor Lawrence because, if we brought Doug Peterson in here, last year, we'd probably be at least 2 wins better, just because
Sure.
I mean they had to buy into everything. But yeah, that's what's exciting about this. I mean, I was saying in my preview video, if you pair up different quarterbacks around the NFL and try to do, on similarities, I mean, you're putting Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence together. And, with this one, I think both of them are going to throw it all over the field. I think, and this one's tough to even predict what's going to happen, because I really do feel like it's going to come down to one play, whether it be a turnover or whoever has the ball last. I don't know. This game is so hard. And the crazy thing about this is if you're looking at I've seen some polls on Twitter with NFL and NBC, 100,000 votes, who's going to win this game? And it's 50-50 Jaguars Chargers. I mean, this is the matchup of the weekend. I know if I didn't have a dog in the fight, I probably wouldn't even be that excited about the games this weekend, because you have backup quarterbacks playing, and it's not a super weird. I mean, it's not a super interesting weekend, but this, I mean, I think objectively speaking, this game looks pretty exciting, because I'm all about quarterback play and seeing young quarterbacks play. So
yeah, agreed.
I'm looking at.
Yeah, Larry brought up a good point too about that, is that we didn't have Lindsley. We did have Filer. We did not have Slater, and we did not have Pipkins. I think might have been out of that game.
Pipkins was out too. I think Storm was playing.
Yeah, I think Storm was playing. So it was kind of an interesting thing with our O-line there too. But I know we're going to jump over to UCF Jaguars channel right now. We've been chatting a little bit about the Jaguars here and everything. I know we're kind of going to rapid fire a little bit on this, guys, but we definitely wanted to be able to have it on our channel. And then we're going to jump over to UCF Jaguars channel right now. I'm going to throw the link once again to you guys. If you guys want to join the chat there, we're going to talk Chargers there. I know we've been talking a little bit heavier about the Jaguars because we just want to understand what they're thinking. But bottom line, guys, I did want to throw one stat. Chargers are 3-0 against all East Coast based games so far this year. So maybe we'll make it number 4.
Ooh.
Let's go.
Let's go over non-dome records. Let's go over non-dome record.
There we go. That's right.
There's a lot of. It's funny with the statistics. There's so many different ways you can twist it.
Easily.
You can poke holes on any ship in this thing. You just keep going, and you can find something, man. But
the Jaguars are 5-0 against teams that wear blue. All right, victory.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I love it.
That's great. Well, and you could say you're 1-0 versus a long hair quarterback. You know,
oh, there you go.
Long hair versus long hair quarterback matchups.
Oh, I love it. All right, guys. I just threw the link in there too. That's going to be directly to the stream on UCF Jaguar. We're going to jump on there right now, guys, and we're going to continue the conversation from there, guys. So appreciate it, guys. Once again, sorry for the short stream. But we're going to do a post game also, too. So we'll close this one up, jump on over there, and we'll talk Chargers, guys. So appreciate it, guys. Once again, James, Andrew, UCF Jaguar, Bolt Bros. Let's go.
Let's get it.